Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Extending Janet's Reach, how Jisc managed SD-WAN will provide greater access to Janet. We had great talks earlier from Rob Evans and Neil Shuri about Janet and the strategy and all the great things that it does and provides. We're going to be talking about how we're going to extend that capability using SD-WAN. We're joined today with myself, Tom Heyman, Chief Technology Officer for Cloud, Michael McFarlane, Deputy Director, Network Operations, Ellie Chambers, Senior Security Sales Specialist for BT, although I think that's not the right title. Anyway, Trent Horn, Principal Sales Engineer for Fortinet, and finally Richard Jackson, who's our Head of Cloud Security. Again, slight update needed on those slides. Without further ado, I'll hand over to Michael, who will do the presentation.
Thank you, Tom. So I'm going to take you through how Jisc are approaching SD-WAN. It may mean a myriad of things to everybody, but we're going to kind of try and show you how we're dealing with it. So what we have here is SD-WAN. SD-WAN is typically a transport agnostic virtual overlay, VPN for those in the know. And what we're able to do that is across the lease line, SAGIA, FTTP, FTTC, and sometimes 5G. We've got a FortiGate head end in a data center, which is where all the virtual connections come into. We're able to manage that with the Forti Manager, and data is then kind of analyzed with the Forti Analyzer. So the connections are virtual to Jisc, and it gives you services within the Janet network. Here's a bit more information. So as you see here, we've got various different sites on the side. The temporary sites, sixth form schools, university hospital. And part of our approach to this is that potentially the Janet IP connection is not always the right solution for your services. So the bandwidth will determine what edge device goes into to these sites. So they could be anything from up to kind of 1 gig to 10 gig services. Those connectivities is through to the FortiGate hub. From there, you'll have access to the likes of AWS Outpost, JNRS, and the trusted research environments that Janet is well known for. And beyond that, you'll have all of the benefits from connecting into Janet. Jisc manage SD-WAN. So, what drove us to kind of looking at SD-WAN? And a lot of these is quite old news to everybody here because it's the same stories around. Restricted IT teams, the lack of expertise to make desired changes to the network or the ability to support it. Security, as we've seen earlier, this is a hot topic amongst everybody and is always high on people's agendas, and we want to make sure that your connection is as secure as it can be. Complicated networking infrastructures. There's a lot of mergers, a lot of acquisitions, resulting in kind of combined networks that maybe don't fit well together. And last but not least is, cost. A Janet line is expensive, but it has its value. And we are looking at how we can provide this to sites that are maybe not suited to a Janet line, and how we can kind of meet more customer needs in regards to providing connection to Janet. So how will our service address these? Why not offload your network into Janet? We're able to manage these devices centrally from the Forti Manager, allowing your own IT teams to focus on the value add. Security, I think everyone in here knows kind of how well the Janet security stands up, DDoS, JNRS, and some future requirements which we're going to develop around kind of next generation firewalls and other things along those lines. We'll have monitoring, antivirus, all those security aspects. Consolidation of network equipment. The boxes we're looking at, you can add multiple services to one box. So you can have a firewall, you can reduce your tin on site, sustainability, power consumption will be reduced. It really is a one box kind of solution for your services. And finally, using the lease lines that we have, the FTTC, the FTTP, you're able to provide these services over cheaper broadband connections, offering you a lower cost circuit, but still with the great benefits that Janet brings. So I'll take you through kind of our roadmap. We have proof of concepts running out at the moment. These are with various different customers. So our 1.0 kind of beta launch is secure full tunnel access to Janet, where you're going to have the foundation DDoS and JNRS. This did say summer on there, but they've changed it to Q4. I was going to say that summer hasn't actually started, so it's going to be delayed. But 2.0 is virtual intersites. We're listening to our customers here on what their kind of requirements are, and intersites is a key thing, the time it takes to deliver and the problems we have with that. Being able to offer these intersites is a great addition to kind of any site and any service that we have. Allowing our customers to bring your own bearer, BYOB, is a great one. You know, contracts may have a lot of time to run, so we'll be able to run this service over any kind of bearer that you've got. Resiliency is key, as is DNS and PNS. These are all kind of future services that we're looking to develop, and as you see, it's kind of in the Q3 for 24-25. And as I mentioned earlier, we are listening to what our customers want, and you know that kind of understanding and realization in kind of how we can develop these will come from you guys. So local breakout to internet, managed firewalls, and kind of looking at how we can integration into SASE as well. These are key kind of developments that we're looking, and we know that you kind of need and want from Jisc. So hopefully that's kind of given you an overview. If you need any more information, we have our innovation desk. We also have various different network engineers who are down in the desk there. Feel free to come up and grab anyone, grab me. My email address is there, so feel free to kind of reach out to me. Thank you for listening. I'm going to hand back to Tom for the Q&A, which is where these guys come involved.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. That's really, really good, I think. Thank you. So as we run into the Q&A, feel free to think of any questions, use the app, and I will be passing the microphone around, so please use the opportunity to ask anything. Any question is valid. So I'll start with a question. I've got some questions on this bit of scrappy paper, so you have to bear with me for a second. A managed SD-WAN solution is something you've had years of experience with, and I'll ask this to you, Ellie, first, if that's okay. Can you share in your experience of delivering SD-WAN before to educational institutions? What has been the motivation of them to implement an SD-WAN, and what feedback have you received from customers?
So I think the main driver, which we see across all organizations, is that your applications, your data, it's no longer held centrally, for example, in your on-premise data center. So something that we see is customers wanting to prioritize that access to data, to services, to applications by looking at things like SD-WAN. So you can reduce the latency for connection, but also so you can prioritize applications. I think when we're specifically talking about this solution alongside Jisc and Fortinet, it's obviously that access into the Janet network and all the benefits that are provided by having that access. So overall, definitely access is key. I think flexibility is the other side, and especially in the education sector, we see customers want to rapidly deploy new sites, or recently we've seen it with a need to deploy like a research and development sector, and it's how quickly can we get it up and running, and how can we ensure that it has the best connectivity and that it's reliable and it's secure as well. So we're definitely seeing them as the key drivers. I think the feedback wise, and probably why I'm on the panels because I've got the security lens, is the need to ensure that we're secure by design. So by partnering with Fortinet, it allows us to have all of that capability in one box, not just the router side, but the security overlay as well, without the expenditure across multiple different boxes. So the feedback we constantly get is, how do we ensure that it's secure by design? And our answer is looking at the technology we use and then the processes that we put in place.
Thank you. And the same for you, Trent?
Yeah, well, basically, Ellie stole all my thunder, but I mean, it's essentially, I guess I'm from the vendor Fortinet, so I'm going to talk about ourselves, aren't I? So, people are looking for a trusted vendor, and Fortinet's up there in the leader of the SD-WAN Gartner Magic Quadrant. So we see ourselves, because of all the security functions that are built into that box, the consolidation that one box gives you all those features and functions, is why people come to Fortinet. They come to us because we're that trusted leader in the Magic Quadrant. And all those benefits, energy saving benefits, the management overlay are all the features why they would come to Fortinet. So
Yeah, thank you. What are the biggest and most common challenges institutions face when transitioning to SD-WAN, Ellie?
So I think from the projects that I've been involved with, the element that seems to take the longest is around firewall policy. I'm sure most organizations here would agree that you have a centralized policy, and over the years you probably add and grow it. And by the time we come to make a transformation, we do a big review of the policy and we find lots of stuff in there that we don't think is relevant to us anymore. And then we do a big firewall policy rule review, which does take a long time. What we try and do is bracket different organizations and make them decide what kind of policy is most relevant to their branch sites, to their hub sites, to their research and development sites. And that allows us to speed that process up a little bit more. But that's definitely one of the key areas. And then secondly, is having a view of what your new kind of risk posture looks like. So SD-WAN means that you've increased your attack surface area, you've opened yourself up to the network in a new way, and we want to encourage our customers to review what their risk position looks like and engage in whatever they need to do, consultancy or whether that's kind of DDoS or review what visibility you have on your estate. We want to make sure that our customers do that as well.
Awesome, thank you. And same for you, Richard?
Yeah, first of all, to sort of echo what Ellie's saying, really, security, at least from what I see, these branch sites, for example, don't get the same stigma that you would have on your main site in terms of the firewall policies that are being applied. Quite often, more than not, east-west traffic's going under the radar. So at least this solution here is going to help bulletproof your security in that regard. And also it will help enable sort of secure access to any site, whether it's in the cloud, whether it's on our network. It could be anywhere, because again, see lots of SD-WAN solutions extended to public cloud and not necessarily done in the right way. So hopefully we can help out in that regard. And the other thing, I suppose another bugbearer that I do see is the time to deploy when it comes to networking with remote sites, new sites. Again, this solution is all about quick, secure deployment. Emphasize security, obviously, but it's there. It's very quick. So we've had some quick turnarounds with our proof of concept customers. Ashton moving into a new building, effectively with no networks there. We had this deployed straight away with a 5G router and SD-WAN to support it and secure it.
Thank you. And what cost savings can we get from SD-WAN, Trent?
Yeah, I hate to quote statistics, but I'm going to anyway. So there's statistics that we've got, and we can share these with you if you're that way you are interested. But we're seeing over a 5-year period, there should be a 300% return on investment, and that's compared to an existing MPLS network with multiple routers and firewalls, et cetera, So if you're consolidating, you're moving from that MPLS circuit to a broadband connection, or a bearer of opportunity. You're basically going to break even within 8 months, and then over the 5 years, you're going to be saving a lot of money. But it's not only that; it's the reduced overhead for your staff that are constantly troubleshooting any issues. There's a reduction in the number of incidents because you've got this holistic solution with the overview from the management platforms, where your staff are going to get a lot of time back, essentially, because they've got a one-stop shop that they can see the complete network and any issues that are on their network, but also that network is, and then again, this is a bit of a buzzword, but self-healing. So you've got various underlays that your SD-WAN solution is using, and it can move the traffic around the different underlays depending on the status of that underlay network. So if there's packet loss, large jitter or things like this on a particular circuit, the box can move the traffic to the best circuit for the application. So it's all those benefits that you get, both from the circuit reduction and the ease of managing the network.
Awesome, thank you. Same for you, Ellie, cost savings?
Yeah,
SD-WAN.
I think the energy side, I know Joy mentioned it this morning, but obviously our green credentials are super important to everyone. And by reducing 2 boxes to 1, you've got a very quick and easy saving there. And the same with the CapEx side. I guess to echo Trent's point, what we see from our customers is that usually they have around 30 different security vendors that they manage at any time. And if you can picture that in the amount of platforms or training or certifications that you have to hold across your entire IT team, you can see how that could really start to build up. And again, we talked about it earlier about retaining staff and ensuring that we have the right technical people in the right places. It's definitely an issue that we're seeing in this industry. So by having a consolidated product like Fortinet, which is across network and security, and lots more features and benefits that we can talk about in the future, you can consolidate what your security estate looks like and have people focused on what are the real issues that you want to solve and transform and fix, rather than focused on the ticketing side. And I think by partnering with BT, where we manage these kind of solutions for hundreds of different customers all over the world, we have invested in things like automation, so that we can ensure that we pick up those tickets faster, so that we've got automated systems in place to ensure that that's done seamlessly, where most organizations don't want to spend lots of money investing in automation. We are able to take some of that burden off and, again, free up the time within an internal IT team.
Awesome. Thank you again. This one to Michael. I know you've been heavily in the weeds with this proof of concepts and the technology. You work closely with the Janet Network and the team at Jisc. Where do you see the sort of value of this solution to our customers and our members?
I see the value really in the product itself. Us being able to offer this to our customers, it sits alongside the traditional IP connectivity that we offer, but this gives an alternative. If you've got a satellite site or a site that you're using for temporary services, you don't want to deliver a Janet IP with 10 gig of bandwidth on there. This gives options. This kind of meets needs and kind of requirements from customers. So giving that option to our customer is a real benefit for them. And I think it opens up a world of possibilities into sites as well. It is a key one that was mentioned before. Having the ability to fire these up fairly quickly. We mentioned about delivery time. I think that there's a myriad of benefits that we could have with this. And yeah, I think giving the customer the option to choose what service fits their requirements better is really good.
Yeah, completely agree. Yourself, Richard?
I guess just to echo what keeps being mentioned, but security, again, is baked in. It's anything that we deliver with this solution, security is going to be there from day one by design. Obviously, based on Michael's presentation, you can see that there's lots you can do here with this solution. The art of the possible really is it's limitless, really, when you think about your use cases, what can be solved with this. So the conversation just now around branch offices, so for example, halls residents, something like that, EMS, BMS systems there that are currently requiring a physical line back to connect into their current solution. This is a much more affordable solution in that scenario. So there's different use cases here. And like I say, it's going to continue to grow. The more feedback we get from yourselves in terms of what you want, we can help shape that and like I say, do it in a secure way as well.
Thank you. What's been one of the biggest challenges going through this POC from your point of view?
It's one of the first projects that I'm aware of where we've had so many different teams in Jisc, I think, collating together. So it's getting everyone on board, I guess, and working together, and also obviously with the different parties involved. So everyone's got their own sort of take on what good looks like. So there's been lots of to and from discussions there, ultimately building up a robust solution. So I'd say the biggest challenge really is getting the right people in the room to troubleshoot this and to just scrutinise it really more than anything else, I guess, to make sure that it is absolutely fit for purpose and ticking the right boxes. The technology is good. The technology just does the job. It does what you want it to do, especially when it comes to bolting the security on top, which is something that other solutions is not necessarily as easy a thing to do. But obviously with it being a FortiGate, security's there on day one. So there's lots of advantages going down this route for sure.
And yourself, Michael, in terms of the POC, what's been the biggest challenge for yourself?
I'd have to agree with Richard there. I think there's quite a lot of cooks and they've all got opinions. Communication is key, and I think we established good communication channels from the start to make sure everyone is aware of where we're heading with this, what we're doing, who's looking at what and who's responsible for each aspect. I think the way we kind of approach this is a change to kind of traditional Jisc approach. You know, we partnered with Fortinet and with BT for their expertise in SD-WAN. We were limited on kind of how we would deliver this and our knowledge. So we've partnered with some of the best kind of businesses out there to deliver this. And I think that, you know, that's a challenge that that we've had to kind of deal with internally, you know, getting the right people, bringing them on board for the journey and that sort of thing. So I think it's, I wouldn't call them challenges, but they were interesting.
Always challenges. Thank you for your questions. I've got a few on the iPad here, so I'll go straight into those. I'll ask this one to Michael, but Rich might know the answer too. But so using Jisc infrastructure to connect campuses instead of leased lines is a great idea. Will this solution provide this? And then interestingly, why is it taking so long? I thought I'd throw that in at the end.
It will provide it. It's on the roadmap. I think the reason why it's taken so long, that's a good question, and one I probably need to come back and answer once I've kind of found out the answer myself. We've had to make sure that what we're doing fits in with kind of the community and how we're going to deliver services within Jisc. As I said, getting the right partners in place was key. You know, having to go and kind of look at who's available and who's able to do this. So the selection process with BT and Fortinet wasn't just an off-the-cuff kind of decision. You know, there was quite a lot of research and due diligence that went into that. So I think there's, you know, getting that established, you know, getting those relationships built. You know, as they've said, the technology does the job, and I think that, you know, it's more the kind of the other aspects around that's maybe taken time. But we're confident now that we can really push forward with this. And as we said, we've got the right kind of solution now, and we're building on that all the time. And I think it's positive going forward. Thank you.
And again for yourself, Michael. Jisc has been cautious around putting their connections into rented space as part of MPLS, VPLS networks. Would this technology be suitable here?
What was the question, sorry?
So Jisc have been cautious around putting their connections into rented space as part of MPLS and VPLS networks. Would this technology be suitable here? Does that mean?
Well, we've been talking about bearer of opportunity, haven't we?
So I think it's bearer, isn't it?
That's one of the phases that will be coming is bearer of opportunity. So yes, if there's an existing circuit there that can be utilised, that is coming down the road.
Thanks, Trent. For yourself, Ellie, are BT seeing customers opting for self-managed or outsourced managed service models? What do you see?
So a little bit of both, but and in the initial stages when we're speaking to a customer, usually both are on the table. However, when we go through the model and we talk about what we can do, we tend to see customers end up at a managed solution because they don't want to have to deal with the day-to-day ticketing, the on-site managed kind of chores that go along with an SD-WAN service, and that's definitely where we've seen the drive for a managed solution come from, is that we want our own internal resource to be focused on the stuff that's really important to organizations rather than picking up tickets, doing patching, reviewing firewall policy. So again, that's where we can come in and help. And I will have to shout out, we have got a stand, and please do come and speak to us about what we can do in this space. We'd love to talk more about it.
Thank you. Sort of slightly off topic, I guess, but it does touch on security. What trends is BT observing in the cybersecurity market, sort of more generally?
In education, I think visibility is something that we're hearing a lot about. The attack surface area that education customers look after is really, really diverse. You have research organizations, you've got students, you've got lecturers, you've got lots of different types of consumer within your organization that need to consume services. And I think that managing that estate and ensuring that, going back to what we said about east to west traffic and ensuring that's monitored, that seems to be a big area of concern for our education customers. I think over the last few weeks, we've all seen the news in public sector, especially the supply chain threat seems to have increased. So it's really important that we are also monitoring what does our supply chain look like and how can we ensure we keep that protected. And again, it's looking at the technology we have in place and providing that layered protection by looking at things like how does our east to west traffic talk to each other and what can we do to improve that.
Thank you. Before I answer there's a few more questions that have popped in. Are there any questions from the audience at all? Don't be shy. Any hands up? Can't see anybody. All right, I'll crack on with the next one. On the roadmap, I'll add a bit to this question. On the roadmap, 1.0 mentioned BT underlay. Is there an advantage to this as opposed to a different ISP? I guess that's for Ellie.
Yeah, obviously BT is the best underlay, of course. The reason that we put that for our initial stage is that we want to be able to manage a solution like this from end to end. So by having the underlay, the device, and the service all wrapped into a single provider, it means if something were to go wrong, we can tell you where the issue is on that journey. When we move to, we keep calling it different things, bring your own bearer or bearer of opportunity. We won't have the same visibility, but what we're working on is ensuring that Jisc service management can help a customer along that journey, and that's the bit that we're working towards in phase 2. So right now, it's so we have complete visibility and you get a quick time to resolution. But the next stage is, yes, you'll have contracts in place with not as good providers as BT, but we will help you by ensuring that Jisc have the services and the management in place to have those connections and ensure we can resolve any issues.
Thank you. Another question, this is for us, Jisc. When will this be available? And I guess we've got that indicative roadmap that we just presented, and it is indicative. We are working hard to obviously deliver those features and those versions and those different capabilities. I don't know if there's anything else to add to that, Michael or Richard.
We got proof of concepts around at the moment, which are going well, and we are looking now at how we can launch this. I said the phases, we call them phases. I think there's called stages as well. We said there's different names for them, but that's so we can kind of develop the product in the right way. We don't want to go big bang and have everything out there that kind of overwhelms both us, the customer, and the people that are supporting it. So we want to kind of do that in that kind of gradual approach. But yeah, I think I don't have a date, but we are very close, I think, to kind of getting this out there.
I'd echo that, and I'd say if there's anyone that would like to have a conversation about that or understand when they could have a further look at this solution, then come and have a conversation with us, and we will talk a bit more in detail about that roadmap.
Yeah, because it's not a million miles away at all now. We've got kit out there. We've got proof of concepts there. As Michael said, the phases really are there to ensure that we're doing this properly and that we're sort of literally making sure everything we do is squeaky clean. Obviously, the sector seems to be crying out for virtual intersites. That's something that will be there hopefully very soon. But one step at a time, I think, is the important thing. But what has gone out is doing a very good job. It's ticking the boxes. So yeah, very soon, hopefully.
Thank you. And the last question, UK only, or how about Europe? Have we got grand ideas about going into Europe with this? I don't think so at the moment. So probably a no for that one. But if you want to embellish it,
yeah,
Ellie.
Don't see why not. We do it already. But I think it's not quite on the roadmap yet, but open to a conversation if anyone has a European site they want to talk about.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone on the panel, for answering all those questions and a really good conversation. I won't stop people from getting their beer or whatever it is that they want next. So thank you, everybody.